Ms. Barra, thank you for coming back. I've got a few questions for you, and I have to tell you, many of my questions that I asked and couldn't get answers for in April when you were with us. You said after Mr. Valukas finished the report, you hope to be able to answer these questions. Now, since that time, I have been able to be on the floor at the Spring Hill facility, which is there in my district. We've got 1,868 employees that certainly do not want the GM brand to be tarnished by all of this. And so it's important to me, on behalf of all those constituents, that we get some answers and that we do this very quickly. So we thank you for coming back to us today. I want to go back to something I asked you about in April, and you explained that a part that doesn't meet all specifications can still be acceptable for safety, and the example that you used was with steel. Now, we know that the cobalt ignition switch was redesigned in 2006, right? And testing documents from that time show that the torque of the redesigned switch was still below specifications. And yet, after this change, the reported incidence of non-deployment in these vehicles dropped dramatically. Well, when we look at that and we read those documents, and the chairman mentioned, we've been through 1 million pages of documents and 15,000 pages of documents from NHTSA. So we're not sitting idly on this. We're taking some action. So I want you to go back through this and elaborate on your perspective that something could still not meet specifications and be acceptable for safety. And I'd like to hear from you when it is okay to deviate from specifications and people in the process not be aware of this.
Well, I think when you look, as you start developing something, you have a design specification. But what's most important, and the testing that we're doing now is, and had done in the past but are doing in a much more broad fashion now, relates to the actual performance of the part and how the part operates in a subsystem, how it operates in a broader system, and then how it operates in the vehicle. And so as we design now, we're validating at the part level with the new organization we put together called the Product Integrity Organization. They're actually now looking and doing much more validation as it relates to subsystems. Because what you really want to know is as all the parts come together, that it's going to operate as a system and perform safely. Okay. And that's what the new organization is accomplishing.
Okay, so what you're saying then, if it doesn't affect safety or effectiveness, it's okay not to meet specifications.
I'm saying there's times where as long as it has to meet the performance requirements.
Okay, then how should an engineer evaluate the performance, the part's performance against the technical specifications?
Again, you look at performance against requirements. What are the requirements of how that part needs to behave in the system? And that's how an engineer evaluates it. And again, what we're doing now is taking that much more broadly, so we're not relying on one person to understand across the whole vehicle.
Then in this product integrity system, how does GM track the deviations that are occurring from the technical specifications?
That's all captured in very specific documents.
How transparent is it? Is it transparent to the engineer?
It's available to the engineers, to the chief engineers in the organization.
Okay, was this done when the switch was approved in 2002 and redesigned in 2006?
No, what I'm talking about is what we've done this year.
Okay, so this was not done. So we still have, there was a glitch in the system and people approved a part that was not okay.
Well, the problem with the specific change you're referring to was that change was made and it was not documented.
Okay, then how does a GM engineer know when there is a deviation from a specification, if it is too much or too little, or if it is acceptable, or if it is going to pose a safety problem?
Again, there's a couple aspects of this that you have to look at, but if you go back to when those changes were made and it wasn't documented, the records were not there to document there was a change, and that was something that's unacceptable, and the individual who didn't document that is no longer with the company. I'm telling you that as you do good engineering, you are going to make sure you understand the requirements of what you're designing, make sure the part, the subsystem, the system meets those requirements and have full documentation.